Howdy, howdy, howdy. Happy, what are we, Tuesday now? We have some Nexus Gaming Series Division B East matchup between the One Tricks and Totem Annihilation. This season, this NGS season is winding down. We are in next week will be the final week in the regular season before the playoffs start. And Division B East, 1 through 7, most of those teams pretty much locked in. I mean, some weird things can happen, but for the most part, 1 through 7, those guys locked in. They will be in the playoffs, ready to go. However, that number 8 spot, very much up for grabs. Currently in that Division B East, actually I should say 7th and 8th place up for grabs. The 1 through 6 pretty much settled in. So currently in 7th place, Gilly Shark with 11 points. 8th place, the One Tricks, who will be playing in this game, with 10 points. And 9th place, also with 10 points, Winston Churchill Manatees. 3 teams, 2 spots, all within 1 point of each other. So definitely some big games going down the stretch. And this game is huge for the One Tricks. Looking only at record, Totem Annihilation would be the heavy favorite coming in. They are currently sitting in first place in Division B East with a record of 7 wins, no draws, and their only loss coming to the second place team, Uncomfortably Numb. Their opponent, the One Tricks, having a little bit of a mixed season, solid all around. 2 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses. And so getting any kind of points out of this set for the One Tricks would be absolutely huge. Of course, they want the domination. That's a pretty tall order. So if they get the draw, I think they're going to be pretty happy pulling a point out of this. As we said, the 7th, 8th, and 9th place teams all really, really close. And currently, the One Tricks sitting in the 8th and final playoff spot. So game 1 was the pick of Totem Annihilation. Will be on Infernal Shrines. We do have both teams in lobby. Should be getting going here in just a minute. All right, I've got R from Totem Annihilation and an R from the One Tricks. So here we go. Tomb of the Spider Queen, smallest 3-lane map in the game. Clean rotations, very important. Wave clear, very important. It's also probably one of the most snowbally maps in that if you fall behind, it gets increasingly harder to turn in the gems you're holding on to, because the opposition has control over vision and the lanes, and losing those gems is such a big deal. It almost forces you to play a little more passive when you need to be aggressive to get those gems in. So Tomb of the Spider Queen, you really want to get off to a strong start. Anybody in the chat, I have been messing with my sound settings, so definitely let me know how my sound is relative once we get in the game. Is the voice too loud for the game? Is the game too loud for the voice? So it is going to be a first ban Medivh coming out for the One Tricks. Medivh, in my humble opinion, one of the most irritating heroes to play against when he is played well. The force of will can really negate targets you're trying to engage upon. When he gets in his Raven form and stalks your whole team around the map, Element of Surprise is basically impossible to accomplish. So in organized play where you're on a team with comms and a good Medivh player, not just a good Medivh player, but a team that knows how to play with Medivh, he is really powerful, very impactful, and we won't see him this game. Totem Annihilation, thinking long and hard about their ban. Only 4 seconds left, and they're going to go with the Maiev. Maiev is very strong early game in those 4-man rotations, getting those picks, setting up the wombos with the Warden's Cage. He is taken out of this game as well. So first pick for the side of the one tricks. If we're going to go strictly on meta first picks, you could see a Phoenix, Diablo, Garrosh, Stukov, and Malf used to be pretty highly prioritized, and I think they still are, despite the recent nerfs, but maybe not quite first pick overall material. Anybody on a Tomb of the Spider Queen who clears out those waves quickly is valuable as well. You do see like Gul'dan frequently for those rotations. Also Johanna, it's one of her strongest maps. And there's the Phoenix. He also had some nerfs recently. Not to his damage, which is still exceptional, but to his health, his shields, and his auto attack range on his AoE auto attack mode. Two picks for Totem Annihilation. Tank and support, maybe. Garrosh still on the table. Garrosh is one of those heroes where his mere presence in the game just influences how everything is done, and they go with the Diablo Mouth. Both of those also very strong. Now for the side of the one tricks, if they want Stukov, now is the time. There is at least a decent chance anyway that Totem Annihilation would ban him here this next pass. And if they want the Garrosh, this is where you take him as well. Sonya's still on the board. She's excellent in that solo as well. Speaking of bans, we got some exciting news earlier this week. Third ban coming next ranked season. Very exciting. That also means it'll be around for next NGS season, so teams will definitely have to make that adjustment to having the third early ban is what they said it's going to be, moved to the top of the draft. Or did they say mid? I forget. Oh, that's going to bug me now. I think they said they're going to move it to mid. There's the Garrosh, and there's the Greymane. So the damage for the one tricks is on the board. Greymane Phoenix. Phoenix is really good at actually, Phoenix is good at both setting up the initial damage and finishing his own kills, but Greymane is really an excellent finisher. Garrosh, toss, stun, taunt to really set that up. And like I mentioned, if they wanted Stukov, they needed to pick him up because he is no longer available. Especially pairing with the Garrosh, the toss into the silence can be really good. No Stukov for game one. One tricks. Let's see who they're going to ban. With the tank and support already on the board for a Totem Annihilation, I wonder if they're going to target a solo laner or some kind of damage dealer that they maybe don't want to deal with. Thrall is really good. Maybe Sonya, if you don't want to deal with that. Blaze is still on the board. A Blaze Diablo frontline, when played well, is very difficult to deal with. And instead it's going to be Kael'thas, who recently got some changes as well. So 2 picks for Totem Annihilation. With one of these is gonna be damage for sure. Excuse me, I had a little bit of a cold a couple weeks ago. I can't quite seem to fully get rid of that tickle in my throat. So if you see me mute occasionally, it's so I don't cough at you guys onto the mic. One of these picks definitely 100% going to be damage. Jaina does pair really well with Diablo and Mouth. Wouldn't surprise me to see a Jaina. They still need a solo laner. Blazer, Sonya, Thrall, Malthael. Ragnaros is also solid on here. Any of those. There's the Jaina Thrall. So pretty meta by the book stuff. Coming out for both teams, actually. Final 2 picks for the one tricks. One of them is going to be the solo laner. They want to have somebody that can handle Thrall theoretically. Now, one of the reasons I really like where Thrall is right now is he can handle the solo if you need to, no problem. He can also flex into the 4-man almost just as effectively if you decide you want to send somebody else down there instead. So it's going to be a support and some kind of solo lane for the one tricks. Maybe, we didn't mention Leoric is still on the board as well. And he's a little bit of a soft counter to Diablo with the Drain Hope and the Cursed Bullet out of Greymane wouldn't do nice into Diablo. Let's see who we're going to get. Uther Genji. So that means Phoenix is going to flex down into the solo lane. He's actually a pretty capable solo laner. Uther has a follow-up stun for the Garrosh Toss and can either Divine Shield Greymane or Genji. The best response, I think, here out of Totem Annihilation with Uther has burst healing is anything that you can put damage over time with. So let's see if they look to spec into something. Oh, and instead they went with the Wombo. So you have VP, APOC, Ring of Frost, Twilight Dream, and if Thrall wants to throw his stuff in there too, he can. So going full OG Wombo combo on the side of Totem Annihilation. Those Wombo combos, when they're executed, those are the stuff that highlight reels are absolutely made of. That's the stuff that gets clipped and stuck in the Discord highlight. So Totem Annihilation, they are locked into the playoffs 100%, no doubt about it. A little bit on cruise control here. But the one tricks, this game is big time for them. They really need to get any points they can out of this, as the fight for the last 2 playoff spots is going to be scrappy, and it is going to go down to the wire. The one tricks did get 3 free points yesterday when the Mighty Goats opted to forfeit the rest of the season. All right. Blue team is the one tricks. We have Lincoln Park on Garrosh. Sheej. I'm going to say Sheej on Greymane. Mydrolonite on Genji. Keel 1108 on Uther. And Q-Tip or Kotip on Phoenix. The red team, Totem Annihilation, is going to be Apple Pie. Taking a little circle dance here. Apple Pie on Diablo. Dacian on Malf. Spectre on Zeratul. T. Akor on Thrall. And Craven on Jaina. Pretty passive positioning here by Totem Annihilation with a Garrosh on the other side. That is not to be not surprising. They want to make sure nobody gets tossed in there, because a good toss from Lincoln Park with the follow-up stun from the Uther and the Phoenix Greymane damage would definitely spell death for probably anybody not Dame Diablo. So it will be Phoenix and Thrall squaring off in the bottom lane. Phoenix is, I think, really underrated in the solo. With those shields, can trade into pretty much anybody. You're already seeing that right here from Kotip versus Takor. So we'll try to pop in there, make sure we give the solo lane some love. Back up to the 4-man here. Apple Pie is taking a little poke, sitting at about half health. Those globes will heal the Lord of Terror up nicely, though. And rotation and counter rotation. With a Jaina here and a Zeratul, I think that Totem Annihilation's 4-man will probably be a little faster. However, the one-tricks with a Genji and a Garrosh will 100% have more kill pressure in these rotations, so gotta be very careful. Now, Zeratul looks like he's coming down to help with the Phoenix. Tiakor doing a nice job as Phoenix currently waiting for those shields to charge back up. Phoenix kind of hovering in the neighborhood, and Genji doesn't know he's there, so both sides setting up for a gank on the solo. However, Thrall knew it was coming. Phoenix did not. Both Phoenix and Genjo take a nice fair amount of poke damage there. No kills secured, however. Both teams pretty much sitting on the same amount of gems. A very slight soak advantage to Totem Annihilation. But this game's going to get really interesting once they start posturing here for turn-in. Alright, speaking of posturing in for turn-in, Zeratul pretty low. He is hovering around, though. Thrall taking a lot of damage to the 3-man that has shown up here from the one-tricks. 4 is achieved for both sides. We'll take a quick look at those talents. And Thrall being very aggressive, taking a lot of damage. This is what I mentioned early when we were going over the solo matchups. Phoenix, as long as that shield is up, any trade Phoenix takes is a favorable trade. You can see all that damage on Phoenix has been recovered. With the shield, Thrall, not so much. So that's one of the reasons Phoenix does so great in that solo lane if you trade effectively here. Bottom Siege Giants picked up by the one-tricks. That will probably force a response out of Totem Annihilation, and it does. Jaina coming down here with her Blizzard and her AoE damage to clear those Giants up very fast. However, in the top lane, that leaves Totem Annihilation at a numbers disadvantage. Diablo taking a lot of damage. Zeratul going in to deter the one-tricks from going on Diablo, and pretty conservative play overall by both teams, both playing very clean. No undue risks. Just clearing out lanes, getting XP. There is a flip and a stun onto Genjo. He does have his deflect up. The root is a little bit late. Zeratul gives him a parting gift. And that'll be all she wrote for that. However, quietly, the one-tricks have managed to sneak in 46 gems, and I think that's largely because now Linkin Park up here is probably going to die, but he bought enough time for his teammates to get turn-in on the bottom lane, and the bottom turn-in. So first blood going over to Totem Annihilation. First turn-in going over to the one-tricks. So first turn in, ideally you want to get the front walls. If you can get front walls, you're in a really good shape. You're not going to get much more than that. You really want to use this first turn in to give you an XP advantage that you can snowball from there. By the nature of Tomb, it is a snowballing map, so that's what you want to get out of this first turn in on the side of the one-tricks. Nice anchoring there by Linkin Park, making sure Totem Annihilation has to go through him to get up there. And this top Web Weaver is getting a lot of value. Totem Annihilation is now rotating finally, but the entire front wall has been destroyed, and the one-tricks are backing up. Genjo going on to the Zera and backing out before the roots can take effect. So with this retreat in the top lane, let's see what Phoenix got done on the bottom. Phoenix got the whole bottom wall and a lot of Thrall's health. He needs to be very careful, though. Zera is in the neighborhood and putting a lot of pressure on that Phoenix. Now he is re-engaging as the one tricks have shown up. I don't think Spectre has Blink. I was wrong. He either just came up or was up now. So still only one kill in this game. Slight structurally to the side of the one tricks. Totem Annihilation is going to get a fair amount of gems turned in the top, and it will be enough for their own turn-in on the side of Totem Annihilation. And use this turn-in to try to overcome that half-level deficit. And this is a hard rotation onto Greymane and Phoenix, who are caught a little far out. And it's actually Genji they go on, who's way back there. And this is the closest to a full engagement we've had. Root onto Phoenix, Zeratul annihilates him. So second kill over to Totem Annihilation. The setup by Takor on Thrall and the execution by Spectre on the Zeratul. With all the slows and the roots and even a Diablo on the side of Totem Annihilation, it's going to be very difficult for Linkin Park to get quality tosses. And so far, Garrosh hasn't pressed his luck, has just kind of hung out. Top fort, though, Zeratul in the off lane picks up the entire top fort and secures heroics for Totem Annihilation. It is APOC, Twilight Dream, Earthquake, Ring of Frost, and VP. Pretty much what we expected. The only one we weren't absolutely 100% sure of was the Thrall. But they do go with the Earthquake. Their first turn-in was definitely more effective. They picked up a full fort and about almost a full level lead. Totem Annihilation did. The one tricks do have second turn-in though. They're currently securing their bruisers, so the bruisers will clash mid lane. Phoenix is up cleaning top. Thrall has rotated down to the bottom to pick up the siege camp. So Merc pressure will be on the side of Totem Annihilation, and now they're, well, for a moment they were posturing around boss. That would have been a very aggressive call. Both teams at level 11. This is a 5-on-5 if they decide to take it. A stun, flip, taunt onto Diablo. There is a lot of damage. The VP catches 3, 4. There's the Earthquake, Ring of Frost, APOC. 3, 4 members. Only Genji alive to tell the tale. Diablo was the bait. They almost took him out. However, a beautiful, beautiful 3-man VP by Spectre, followed up with the APOC, Ring of Frost, Twilight Dream, Earthquake, and only Genji survived. 4-man execution coming out by Totem Annihilation, and they're going to parlay this into a boss and turn-in play here. So really clean execution coming out of Totem Annihilation. The one tricks have arrived. They're going to be a little late. Phoenix is in trouble. D-Shield comes out to keep him alive and allows him to teleport away. Greymane going hard onto Thrall. 3-man taunt allows Greymane to get away. Garrosh has no such luck. Thrall putting a lot of pressure. Engage onto Greymane. Great body blocking by Apple Pie despite the cleanse. Greymane unable to get away. Totem Annihilation on the warpath right now. That whole time, Boss was pushing in the top lane. It has gotten the keep front wall. Not going to get too much more than that. However, Totem Annihilation will get turn-in and will be pushing with a pretty sizable 3-level lead. 8 unanswered kills, and they are going to take bottom fort here for free, as there's really no answer that the one tricks can provide here in the bottom lane. And there goes the bottom fort. This is a really rough spot to be in if you're the one tricks. And they are going into a flank position here. All their heroics are up. And there it is. 4-man APOC. or four-man VP, APOC, Earthquake. No Ring of Frost yet. I guess it just wasn't necessary. And they get 3 kills out of that. Spectre with another, just putting them on the tee there. APOC, Earthquake, Twilight, Ring of Frost still up, wasn't needed. 4 more kills. And unless something very drastic happens, Totem Annihilation in a commanding lead game 1. Bottom keep certainly going to fall. And it's a little early to think core, but you are 3 levels up. Let's see what the call is. And yeah, they opt to retreat. And this has been an absolute clinic on synergizing those R's. Bush Party here by Totem Annihilation. They opt to back it up. 11 unanswered kills. Level 16 to 13. Totem Annihilation definitely in control of this game. Neither team has turn-in at this point, so just going to be posturing. Genji does go in kind of deep. Dances his way back out, getting a little poke damage in. Just making sure Totem Annihilation knows he's there. As Zeratul doing the same, making sure Genji knows he's there. So this is a good chance for the One Tricks to try to at least get these gems off of their person so they don't have to worry about losing them in a team fight. They do get in 35 big gems. Initiation onto the Genjo. He does pop his deflect and the X strike. Ring of Frost goes on top of the VP, so no value there. However, the APOC Earthquake does get value. A little bit of a miscommunication. However, with the big 3-level lead, miscommunication or not, everything else was synergized beautifully there. Now we're going to see Totem Annihilation either steal this camp or push in with this camp, or maybe both. Grab the double bruiser camps, push in with the spell armor, and that will probably spell the end of the mid-keep that the One Tricks currently have. Spectre diving in on Greymane. Cursed Bullet goes out as a deterrent, doesn't do any damage, and the One Tricks are in a lot of trouble. Double spell armor here. Apple Pie going in deep. I can tell you from experience, when you're Diablo up 3 levels, you feel absolutely invincible. And Apple Pie playing like you're feeling invincible. So pretty solid defense there out of the One Tricks, despite a very disadvantageous position they're in. Not pushing their luck. Totem Annihilation. Just going to go back, collect the gems. They're only 6 gems away. They'll get that here pretty quick. And not a lot here for the One Tricks to do. If they want to contest the turn-in, they're going to have to do it 3 levels down. They're only going to get 1 more opportunity this game to fight same talent tier. That's going to be about 16, 19 or so. And that's really their next best and probably last chance to make a last-ditch defense. Is at about 16, 19 if they can do it. They do go on to the mouth. Genji does get deep. Only 1 person on the VP this time. However, Diablo makes quick work of Genji. D-Shield goes out to keep Garrosh up. A 4-man taunt. Garrosh doing his best to hold Totem Annihilation back. However, he ultimately does fall, as does Uther. And with the Web Weavers coming in, that is going to be pretty much all she wrote. A pretty dominant Game 1 coming out by Totem Annihilation, showing absolutely why they are the first place team in the division as they march victorious towards the One Tricks core. So really well played by Totem Annihilation. 20 unanswered kills. That is rough. We've all been on the other side of that. Sometimes you just got to chalk that one up to, well, it wasn't our game, and do your best to come back and see if you can get some points in the standings in Game 2. Speaking of Game 2, will be played on Cursed Hollow, probably the most traditional maps of the HOTS maps. So I'm going to go ahead and get that lobby going here. Let me tell you, it is a good thing I did not schedule a doubleheader today, because I do not know if my throat could handle it. Woo! Game 2. One Trick's looking to bounce back. This was One Trick's map choice, so Totem Annihilation will have first pick. All right, so as we populate the lobby here, both teams moving in. Cursed Hollow definitely plays very differently than Tomb of the Spider Queen does. Both 3-lane maps, but that's pretty much where the similarities end. There is a double boss, of course, on Cursed Hollow. Also, the tribute to shut down the defenses. All right, so we have one ready from Totem Annihilation, one ready from the One Tricks, and here we go. I'm always interested, very interested to see. Traditionally in Game 1s, you depending on how much homework the teams do on one another, you tend to see map and meta bans generally. Game 2 is where these drafts get more interesting, as you could see targeted bans as well. So let's see if either one of these teams wants to target something out. From the other. I'm not quite sure who you target out if you're the side of the One Tricks. They just kind of ran everything so smooth. Maybe the Diablo. I think Diablo might be even better on Cursed Hollow than he is on Tomb. Tomb, the double rotations allow him to collect his souls faster. However, there's so much terrain on Cursed Hollow. You can really just body check people all over the place as Diablo. Choke points for the double flip slam. So I love Diablo on Cursed Hollow for that reason. Hanzo ban coming out for the side of Totem Annihilation. Let's see who the One Tricks take off the board. Last game it was Medivh. I do not know if Totem Annihilation has a Medivh player. That actually could have been a targeted ban. And this time they're going to ban out the Maiev. So Maiev banned out in both games. Similar to Garrosh, and the Maiev's existence in a game as one of those heroes that affects the positioning of both teams simply by their presence on the battlefield. Garrosh does that. Maiev does that. So first pick for the side of Totem Annihilation And they do opt to stay with that Diablo. They were very effective with him. So why, if it's not broken, don't fix it? They jumped right back on that Diablo train. Two picks for the side of the one tricks. Stukov was not selected last game. He was banned in the mid-round. Stukov's AoE silence can be really powerful on the choke points on Cursed Hollow. So certainly something to consider there if they want to change up the dynamics of these games, the one tricks. Garrosh is still on the board too, the top tank currently still available. Taking it all the way down to the wire, and they go with the Greymane Malfurion. Despite Greymane's kind of series of changes he's had over the last few months, he's just really a stable in the meta. It's never a bad selection generally to take Greymane. He fits in most comps, most maps. He's probably the most well-rounded assassin. Merc control is excellent. And Malfurion is in a really good place right now, too. Totem Annihilation, I mean, they could really go right back into that comp if they wanted to. Stukov is also still on the board as well if they want to go a Stukov instead, because last time they had the mouth. Instead, they're going to go solo lane Sonya and back to the Jaina. So if I am the one tricks here, I think I'm banning the Zeratul with the Diablo Jaina over there. That is plenty enough for them to execute. You saw that they can do it. I think this almost has to be a Zeratul ban, right? Unless Totem Annihilation plays the Medivh, you can run it with the Medivh as well. It's a little bit harder to execute due to the timing of it. Zeratul, you can just drop Void Prison, whereas Leyline, you actually got to time it. But if I'm the drafter for the side of the one tricks, I am very seriously considering a Zeratul ban. Definitely some discussions going in comms right now. I would be curious to see who else they were thinking about. Maybe the Stukov still as well. Yeah, and I think that's the call. As annoying as Stukov is to play against, and I am almost never opposed to a Stukov ban because that silence, AoE silence, can just be so oppressive. It had to be Zeratul. After that last game, there was just... that was where it had to be. Garrosh ban coming out for the side of Totem Annihilation. Let's see who the one tricks go with here now. They do need some more hard CC to hold down that Sonya. You can't let her just get all over the back line. I imagine we'll... Well, you know, maybe not. I'm going to finish what I started. I was going to say, I imagine we'll see the tank here. However, with Diablo already being selected on the other team, whatever tank they want to pick will still be there last. It depends on whether you want to leave your flexible pick for the end or you want to leave your tank to the end knowing that he is still going to be available. Anubarak, that supplies in Phoenix. So they're going to need another frontliner. Obviously, it's Anubarak would have a tough time into a Sonya Diablo. But I said they needed more hard CC to hold down the Sonya. Anubarak will provide the hard CC. Also has some spell armor for the Jaina. So Nubrak used to be top of the tank heap. He's kind of fallen off a little bit, more niche now, but I do like the pick. If you use that cocoon well, it can completely turn a fight. You know, turns a full 5-on-5 into a 5v4 for about 4 seconds. So if you can capitalize within that window, that cocoon becomes very valuable. Especially on like a Sonya, where Sonyas tend to really go deep into your own team. If you cocoon her far enough back to where her teammates can't burn her out of it, that's a good place for that cocoon. And then a Tracer, Alexstrasza. Alexstrasza is really good with Diablo because of the percentage-based heal. And Tracer is just generally good. Let's see what bruiser they are going to go with. Alexstrasza, I think, becomes a priority target on that cocoon now instead of the Sonya with her presence. Let's see who they choose to take to battle Sonya in the solo lane. I'll tell you the pick I like here is Thrall. He gives another root for the Sonya. Also, Earthquake Purification Salvo on the Phoenix. If you pop the Earthquake and then do Phoenix's Purification Salvo, you're going to proc all of the bonus damage onto the Phoenix. So I like... they go with the Pajamather. So we do have an Abba sighting. That will be very interesting. Interesting. Well, let's see how it rolls. So the One Trick's trying to bounce back from a pretty rough game one. I've been on the sides of them, and to me, those comms are like, we didn't have our game. You just kind of toss it in the waste bin and you move on. In a weird way, if you play mind games with yourself, those ones are almost easier to let go than the ones where you were kind of ahead and through. Because you're like, oh my god, if we just would have done this, we would have won that game. But red team, Totem Annihilation, Apple Pie, back on Diablo. That's Dason on Alexstrasza, Takor on Sonya, Spectre on Tracer, Craven on Jaina once again. In the blue trunks, the One Tricks, Linkin Park on Anubarak, Sheej on Pajamather, Key 1108 on Mouth, Madronal Knight, I'm going to butcher that name so much, on to the Greymane, and Kotip on the Phoenix once more. So early game for the side of the One Tricks, missing a man, very passive positioning. That's definitely the right call with the Diablo and the blow-up potential of a Jaina. Greymane is in the top trying to deal with Sonya. Will not be able to handle Sonya without an Abba hat, and there's the Abba hat. So I think we want to see Greymane be a little more aggressive when that hat's on him. Really take advantage of that. There we go. In the bottom, Phoenix is trying to deal with a 3-man. He, of course, will lose that. One of the ways you deal with an Abba early game is you really pick a lane and shove it in hard. That's one of the ways you do that. Looks like Jaina is going just for vision, or is she going to go ahead and grab the Giants? So Jaina going to grab the Giants. Greymane's going to do the same. Nobody currently in the top lane soaking for the side of the One Tricks. They haven't missed any soak yet, but they will very soon. Okay, there's the hat to soak the XP by the Abba. Nice job there. Make sure no missed XP soaked. Kotip might be in trouble. Tracer has spotted this out. However, has reached the safety of the top fort. What's going to be absolutely critical for the side of the One Tricks is making sure they get one of the first 3 tributes. Securing those tributes Pre-10 with an Abathur when you don't have clone yet can be difficult. However, you only need to get one of the three, generally speaking, before level 10. Greymane has picked up the bruisers. With the Greymane, of course, they have much better burn. Sonya would really be the person to send up there, but she is busy in the top lane. Abahat really taking advantage of Sonya in the top. So, Pajamathur playing dividends early. Nice teleport out of trouble by Kotip. And actually push advantage just slightly in favor of One Tricks. Also XP advantage the same. Really aggressive play by Greymane on the Alex. Now he's going to withdraw. First tribute will appear in bottom, so I assume Abba will be burrowing up there shortly. Tracer is on her way to the mid lane. Greymane and Malf need to be careful. Nice counter pressure on by Madral Knight on Greymane to make sure Tracer stays at bay. Both teams not quite here yet, and Phoenix is staying top. So One Tricks is not contesting this. They're content to give it up. They're content to let the Abba mines delay. Linkin Park's going to throw out a stun or two. And Malf with some Moonburns. However, Malf needs to be careful, though, with a Sonya and a Tracer. That's a, yeah. So just kind of delaying as much as they can, trying to maximize the early game soak as much as they can. That's not an uncommon decision on Cursed Hollow when you have an Abathur. I imagine, stuff going on here. Sonya is so low, but able to get away. Tracer so low, able to get away. Greymane so low, able to get away. What I started to say with the location of the second tribute here on Totem Annihilation side of the map and an XP advantage, it would not surprise me one bit to see the One Tricks give this as well and try to maximize soak one more time. They're going to catch Diablo. Let Diablo go get Jaina. Oh, beautiful. Craven in trouble, doesn't even know it. You need the root here. That was really, really well done by the One Tricks. They let Diablo go and waited for Jaina. Beautiful job by Key and Mydral Knight. I'm going to continue to butcher that name. Great patience. And they are not doing what I said at all. With the Jaina pick, they got aggressive, and that Abahat is really paying big time and invading Totem Annihilation side of the map, taking the trib. That's a pretty big deal. So really nice play, a nice two-man bush party by Malfurion and Greymane. And this time,
shall we see who gathers enough tribute this time?
Excuse me, this time, the tribute will be on their part of the map, their defensible side. Totem Annihilation coming down here. They are eating the mines early, and they are already posturing in this early position. The One Tricks need to be careful. They are going to get here late, and they're going to come in split. So definite positional advantage to the side of Totem Annihilation. Anubrak here on the flank. And there is a flip. Tracer almost goes down, but instead she uses a very last-minute recall, gets the hell out of dodge, able to escape, and Greymane pays with his life for trying to secure the kill on the Tracer. Nice job by Totem Annihilation, and a good call to simply give that one up on the side of the One Tricks. So neither team able to defend their own tributes, and they steal their oppositions. In the top lane, though, Abba with these Giants getting a lot of value. Not only getting a lot of value, this next tribute will probably be level 10s for the One Tricks, and maybe not for Totem Annihilation. They're about 3/4 of the level lead. I don't think Totem Annihilation can reach level 10 before this tribute. They are absolutely going to give this up. I would be shocked if they did anything but that. Greymane will be able to secure these bruisers. And there's the level 10 for the One Tricks. We have, is that Planet Cracker? No, Purification Salvo on Phoenix, Ultimate Evolution on Abathur, Twilight Dream on Malf, Cocoon on Anubarak, and Go for the Throat on the Greymane. I like all of those calls. And they are almost 10, but they are going to be content to let this one go. 2 tributes to 2 tributes. This is a very close game here, 7 minutes in. And this next tribute is going to be absolutely mammoth. Both teams are also taking their bosses. Looks like Totem Annihilation got a little bit more of a jump out of it. However, with a Greymane and a Phoenix, they will burn this pretty fast. Anubarak looks like he's just going to hang around, maybe throw some dismounts out, slow the rotation down. So the tribute is in the top lane. That will favor the one tricks a little bit because they can rotate up here to boss and be close to the tribute. Both teams are rotating in force to burn the opposing boss. And neither team going to get really much value out of either of these, to be honest. All right, boys and girls. Put on your seatbelts. This is going to be huge. This engagement here, the first engagement with Clone. Both teams have their heroics, except for Tracer, and Sonya goes Leap. That's a pretty big deal. So APOC, Leap, Ring of Frost, Cleansing Flame, and Tracer went Quantum Spike. So I wonder if they're going to use the Leap to set up the ring, possibly. One trick's a little bit late, however, they did pick up Giants in the meantime. There's the engage onto Greymane. There's the evolution. There's the Purification Salvo, Twilight Dream. Everybody pressing their R buttons. Greymane goes down first. Jaina is absolutely running for her life. Clone is going to get Jaina, so a 1-for-1 so far. The clone is going to expire soon, though. Now Dragon Queen is popped, maybe too late. Diablo goes down. Cleansing Flame is popped as well. Sonya going in hard versus a 1v3. Nice stun by Linkin Park, however. Cleansing Flame is able to pick up the kill on the mouth. Tracer almost gets it on the Phoenix, however, a beautiful teleport will cleanse the Pulse Bomb off, and that was an absolute bar brawl. No two ways about it. However, Totem Annihilation does secure the tribute, does win the team fight, and gets the first curse of this game. The unfortunate early death of Greymane, I think, really put a hamper on the one trick's damage. The clone was able to pick off Jaina on the backside. However, looking at the levels, currently still with a slight XP lead for the one tricks. If they can... Oh, Greymane maybe in trouble. Or maybe Tracer's in trouble. Both teams kind of a little scattered here. None quite together. Greymane going on to Craven. Tracer trying to defend the teammate. Diablo going on the backside. I'm sorry, Sonya on the backside here. This curse is going to end in 14 seconds, and it should end with both teams dead even in level. If the one tricks get the next tribute, it's going to be so huge. You would think after getting first curse, you would have a bigger XP lead, but not so much. They are absolutely dead even here. A very aggressive move. Oh, Linkin Park tried to time the recall and was very close. Just missed. So Jaina does finish her regen globe talent, and this mid fort finally does fall. There's the initiation onto Diablo. Jaina gets cocooned. Twilight Dream as well. There's the APOC now that the Lord of Terror is free. Purification Salvo was interrupted. Alex pops the Cleansing Flame. Both teams all over the place. Anubarak is in trouble. Goes down. There goes Malfurion. Great peels by Apple Pie to keep the clone off of Jaina. This time she survives. And that is going to be a 2-0 in favor of Totem Annihilation. That fight was really close, and at first blush, I actually thought the one tricks had a slight advantage there. Only one person, Diablo, caught by the dream, though. So maybe not quite as much value as you'd like out of the Twilight Dream. However, he was under a lot of pressure, so you can certainly understand why he pulled the trigger on the Twilight Dream. Those Abba mines really giving the One Trick's vision over the map. However, Totem Annihilation seems to be slowly taking control of this game. They have gotten their bruisers as well. And now they're posturing toward, just kidding, I was going to say toward their boss. Both teams will have boss up shortly. I wonder if Sonya realizes she might be in trouble here. She is backing up. She does realize. Tracer is all the way in the top lane. Maybe Sonya does not realize. She does have leap and forced to use leap to get away. So it's good that she did not die, of course. However, that's not really ideally how you want to use leap. Tracer will be here in a minute. She is arriving a little bit late. However, 16 advantage for Totem Annihilation makes this a very dangerous fight to take for the side of the One Tricks. And this tribute doesn't mean a lot for Totem Annihilation, so I would giving this up if you're the One Tricks is not terrible. There's the initiation. A nice peeling root by the mouth. Apple Pie going crazy on the backline, taking a lot of damage. Ring of Frost only procs one. Diablo in the tight corridors, though, is able to finish off Greymane. The clone going ham in the backline again, but Apple Pie turning his attention to the back, able to keep his backline safe from the Greymane clone. And only 1-4-0 and tribute given up. I think the right call there for the One Tricks was probably to back up, give up that trib, and try to get 16. Now they've seeded both boss and that trib. Actually, they've probably seeded double boss and the next trib as a result of that. I don't really think there's anything they're going to do to recover the next trib or the boss. However, in the top lane, Abba is probably going to bring down this fort. So Abba doing a nice job. And instead of going double boss, they're opting to push with this one. Not a bad call at all.
Gather tribute or face my curse. The choice is simple.
So this game is much, much closer than the last one. A really good showing from One Tricks regardless of what happens. A very stout defense here in the bottom lane, burning down that boss very quickly. Front wall will go down here. However, Totem Annihilation, there goes Spectre, able to blink away, and I think that will spell the end of this siege for Totem Annihilation. However, Sonya is in position here to channel already, so really nice zoning for Totem there to give Sonya a free channel on the backside. Sonya looks like she's going to rotate to her giants, and the One Tricks probably rotating to their top giants, or maybe actually going to rotate around and somebody's going to poke their nose, probably Linkin Park in on the boss. Totem Annihilation is posturing around the boss. And Apple Pie did start it, but with the tribute spawning, they opt to just let it go. So this is really the moment of truth here for the One Tricks. Losing this trib, losing this fight will be a really big deal. Winning it also would be huge as well. It would be their first trib and really allow them to start to even out this structural damage. Tracer is going on the backside. Dragon Queen has been popped. There's the APOC. Greymane gets flipped and popped in again. There is a huge Twilight Dream. However, Greymane does go down. So does Anubarak. So does Malfurion. Very soon, Phoenix will follow as well. Only Abba alive. And they, with this curse, you may be able to end with this. I mean, this is 30 seconds before the One Tricks are going to be up with absolutely no defenses. Yeah, they are already posturing for core. 20 seconds, level 19. I think some of the members of the One Tricks will be up, but their core will already be in dire straits by the time Greymane and Anubarak arrive. 8 seconds. Yep, this is 100% game. Much closer the second game. Actually, I think the one tricks were stronger earlier than I thought they would be, to be honest. But the first big 5-on-5 team fight, that was won by Totem Annihilation for the first curse of the game. And after that point, they really just didn't look back. So Totem Annihilation keeping firm their hold on first place. The One Tricks have one more game left next week versus the blue team. That one will be, of course, huge for them. Trying to be one of the last two teams to get into the Div B East playoffs. And that will do it for me. Partially because I don't think my voice is going to hold up for too much longer, to be honest. So thanks to Totem Annihilation and the One Tricks for allowing me to cast your games. GG's to both teams. And good luck in the rest of the season, and see everybody in the playoffs. Have a good night, all.